let's get right into it, Pickle. We've got some headlines from around the state. And we will start with the football game.
Yeah.
We will start with, the traditional Sunday thing in the spring.
Yeah, FCS football.
FCS semifinal or quarterfinal football. First Sunday in spring. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm. It's a tradition around here in the great state.
Yeah. So the FCS playoffs are rolling on, and the Sam Houston Bearcats have slayed the dragon.
Yeah.
They found a way. They beat North Dakota State 24-20. This was simultaneously an exhilarating game to watch, and also I almost threw something at my TV.
Yeah. That fourth quarter.
Because the second half.
Yeah.
The whole game. No, the whole game. Let me back up a moment, okay? And I want to start by saying this.
Mm-hmm.
It is not easy to beat North Dakota State. North Dakota State had been to, before this past week, had been to 9 consecutive national semifinals, and I think they had won 8 of the last 9 or 9 of the last 10 national titles. Okay, they are the powerhouse in FCS football.
Yes.
So beating them should come with no caveats, should come with no asterisks.
Yeah, you don't need their quarterback.
You do not. You don't complain. You don't ask questions. You just run away and say, "We did it. We beat them. We beat the Bison." And that's what they did. Sam Houston did. A couple of things while I was watching this game. Watching this game was such a frustrating experience.
Yes.
As somebody who, I don't think I have to hide it, I was hoping that Sam Houston would win.
Yes.
I hope that's not a weird take. We're a Texas football show.
That's kind of what we do here.
And watching this game, whenever Sam Houston had the ball and it was offense versus defense, I was like, Sam Houston's the better team.
Yes.
And whenever North Dakota State had the ball and it was the North Dakota State offense against Sam Houston defense, I was like, Sam Houston's the better team. Okay? And then there were the special teams. And I'm sitting here.
So chaotic.
I'm sitting here. First of all, North Dakota State they're down 10-0. Sam Houston's up 10-0. They have to punt it away. Blocked punt out of the back of the end zone, or out of the kind of the side of the end zone. In for safety. Okay, 10-2. Right? Then I think they go down and score 17-2, and you're like,
this is it.
Back in the
Take
saddle.
them to church.
Dagger. Pew, 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 pew. North Dakota State returns the ensuing kickoff for a touchdown. and then they return a punt for a touchdown.
Yep.
To tie the game. This is a North Dakota State team that, in my opinion, I don't want to say they were overmatched.
They couldn't get anything going.
They were not anywhere close to the better team.
No, if you take special teams out of it, it is
and yet,
the whole time.
Sam Houston could not make a single play on special teams, and I'm sitting here going, "Oh my God!
You just need one tackle.
Are you gonna spit the bit because you can't cover kicks?"
Yep.
Is that what's gonna happen? But instead, Eric Schmid puts on the case. He runs for a go-ahead 6-yard touchdown run with 3:39 left. That was another thing. I'm not going to pretend to be a national FCS expert.
Right.
I'm not going to pretend to tell you that I've seen every FCS team in America.
On a normal year, you're not tuning into every FCS game.
And I'm not in the spring either.
Right.
Okay? I'm not. I'm paying attention to the Texas teams, and that's about it.
Yep.
It's my job. How on God's green earth can you watch Eric Schmid, the quarterback for Sam Houston, and be like, that's not one of the top 10 players in America? I'm sorry.
Know.
How can you watch him and not say that's not one of the top 3 players in America at the FCS level? I mean, this kid, some of the throws that he made, not only did he come through when it counted and ran for the go-ahead touchdown, he ended up throwing for 227 yards and a touchdown. He had a couple of throws that were like, I mean, they were the kinds of throws, let's be real, they were the kinds of throws that if Justin Fields made them, we would never stop seeing the highlights.
No, it would be consistent. They would open up SportsCenter with it every time they possibly could.
I just don't, I don't understand. What I'm talking about is that he's not a finalist for the Walter Payton Award.
Yep, I was going to say, Shahan tweeted that out, and it's like,
what are you watching?
What are you watching?
Am I, do I just have football wrong? Are you actually, is it supposed to be, is it like golf? Are you supposed to have the lower score?
Exactly.
Because I got to tell you, if the goal is to have the higher score, then Eric Schmidt's pretty good. And I just don't understand.
Yep.
I don't know. I will never, that feels like such a, and I want to be very careful when I say this because I've been guilty of this in the magazine. That feels like something you just forgot.
Yeah.
Really and truly. That's the only way that I can explain it. How you don't put Eric Schmid, who is the captain and the leader of what may in fact be the best FCS team in America, on the Walter Payton Award finalist list. I just that it feels like something that they set the list in and they high five. They go, "Hey, we remember to put Eric Schmid on there, right?" And they go, crap! Well, we can't fix it now.
Exactly, because if you watch one of the games, there's no denying it.
No, there's no denying how good this kid is.
There's just no eyes on him, I guess.
I don't get it. Maybe the signal's blocked out of Huntsville.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, Sam Houston is through to the national semifinals. They will play James Madison in the semifinals. So no rest for the weary.
No,
it's another
task.
big game coming up here in this week against.
Which day is that on?
When is that? That's a good question. Sam Houston, James Madison. We're going to find out together, guys.
Good.
They play Saturday at 1:30 on ABC.
Oh,
the American Broadcasting Corporation. So
all right.
you can watch it
big
on
time.
your rabbit ears.
Yeah, there is no reason not to watch it at
watch
this point.
The Dukes and the Bearcats. Okay, other headlines from around the state. And we will get, by the way, we have a full segment about drafts, so if you're here for the NFL draft,
patience.
Yeah. Some sad news to report coming out of I suppose, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, but one of the legendary Texas teams has lost a member in the Pete Lamons. Pete Lamons, former New York Jet, but known around these parts as a tight end on the 1963 Texas Longhorns team, has drowned in what appears to be a boating accident. This is a guy from Crockett, and a guy who helped the Jets to the AFL Championship, but then also was a member of the 1963 Texas Longhorns. Drowned. He was 77 years old, but Pete Lamons is dead. At the age of 77, a key cog in that 1963 team for Darrell K. Royal and stuff. So that came down. That was late last week, but I read it the other day, and it kind of shocked me. So Pete Lamons, tight end of the 1963 Texas team, dead at the age of 77. Down in San Marcos, to stick with the college ranks, down in San Marcos, Larry Tice is stepping down. Larry Tice is the athletic director there at Texas State. He was responsible for overseeing the transition from FCS to FBS. He was responsible for hiring Des Francione. He was responsible for hiring Everett Withers. He was responsible for hiring Jake Spavital. He's retiring after 17 seasons. Normally, whenever you see an athletic director change, you wonder about the job security of the head coach.
Absolutely.
I would say that makes 2021 even more important for Jake Spavital, just to prove to whoever the new guy is, hey, I know what I'm doing.
I'm worthy of sticking around.
Don't you worry about it. But anyway, something to keep an eye on. Larry Tice, the athletic director at Texas State, is stepping down. Speaking of stepping down, I would say one of the more underrated Texas high school football coaches, maybe ever, has decided to retire, and I'm talking about Blake Bryant. Blake Bryant is retiring at Canyon. He had been there for 21 years. He racked up 158 wins in that time. He was always a gentleman to deal with. 21 years there at Canyon. He met his team and told them that he was retiring. He's the son of Bill Bryant, who is a THSCA Hall of Honor member. He's a graduate of Dublin High School. This is a guy who bounced around a little bit. He was in Pasadena Rayburn for a year before he went to Odessa High as offensive coordinator. Went to Temple for a bit before he settled in the Panhandle there in Canyon. But a terrific football coach out there in Canyon who probably never got his due. But Blake Bryant has called it a career. 158 wins in 21 seasons. So we certainly wish the best for Coach Bryant, who's always been a good friend of Dave Campbell's Texas football as well. So wish the best for him in retirement. Some sad news from far out west. And I hate to, boy, it just feels like I'm doing nothing but.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend the past couple
I'm doing
weeks.
bad. I'm doing bad stuff. I'm a big jerk, but we all knew that. And that is that Don Brooks. Don Brooks, the legendary El Paso Coronado coach, has died at the age of 79. He was the head coach at Coronado for 35 seasons. He is the dean of El Paso high school coaches.
Yes.
He is the guy. He's the guy that everyone says, well, if I could just be a little bit like Coach Brooks, then I'll be okay.
Right.
Out there in El Paso. A couple of years ago, boy, now it's like 6 years ago, something like that. Time is no meaning. I went out to El Paso to write a story about football in El Paso, both with UTEP and then at the high school ranks. And the name that you heard all the time was Coach Brooks, was Don Brooks. Was what he did at Coronado was unmatched fundamentally. I mean, this is a guy. Let's put it this way, and obviously it's different circumstances, right? I'm certainly not comparing the two. But this is a guy who has 228 wins in his career. Gary Joseph's at 227. Less time for Gary Joseph. What I'm saying is that, like, from a winning ball games perspective, I mean,
he's up there.
Don Brooks is one of the best that's done it, and a terrific coach. Dead at the age of 79, Don Brooks, the legendary El Paso Coronado coach, has passed away. Elsewhere, another coaching move. Rowlett. You may remember our good friend Doug Stevens. Doug Stevens, who still is involved and very heavily involved with the 7-on-7.
I think he's still the big man in charge.
I think he's still the Grand Poobah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually on his business card.
Yes.
He
can confirm.
He retired from Rowlett after a long career there. So Rowlett was open. They have found their coach. They have hired Allen offensive coordinator Derek Alford to be their new head coach. A lot of shifting sands there obviously with a new coach in John Morris. They have hired the South Lake Carroll offensive coordinator. Derek Alford is now the new head coach at Rowlett. Congratulations, Coach Alford, who lands there out in East Dallas. And finally, I want to direct you to TexasFootball.com that our friend Matt Stepp has a really, really good piece up about a coach who is who's deciding to use tragedy. Use tragedy is the wrong word. Turn tragedy into something positive. And I'm talking about the story of what's going on in Cotulla. Cotulla has hired Marcus Booker to be their new head coach, and that is probably something. Let's just be honest. You probably don't think a ton about Cotulla High School football.
It's not a powerhouse name that really comes to mind.
No, doesn't spring to mind. On Wednesday, they hired Marcus Booker to be their next athletic director and head coach. He had been retired. He was a guy who had been at Cotulla and from 2002 to 2008. He led them to a state semifinal during that span. Really got them to the best heights that they've ever achieved. He had been retired and out of coaching. He has decided to get back in the coaching game, inspired by, fueled by, however you want to phrase it, the passing of his wife. His wife passed away due to COVID-19 during the pandemic, and Matt Stepp talked with him about why he's getting back in the coaching ranks, and he basically said, that football is helping to fill the void.
Right.
That this is a guy who obviously, whenever you lose your spouse, it's a tragic situation. He's using football and getting back into football to help fill that void. He said he's got that itch to get the whistle back on and playing and an opportunity to come back to the site of his great success there in Cotulla was too much to pass up, especially considering the circumstances. He's a Jetson grad. He's a disciple of D.W. Rutledge and a guy that
on that expansive coaching tree.
certainly. And so this is going to be a guy who keep an eye on Catula. It's an interesting story out there, and Matt Stepp's got a great piece up on TexasFootball.com. So make sure you check that out. And those are some headlines from around the state.